just fall into a dream.
My next guest is a Kuk Sool Won world champion, an entrepreneur, also races motorcycles on the weekend, and dare I forget, was a World Series of Poker final tableist, David Aue. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great, Roger. It's good to see you. Glad to be here.
Hey, I'm really happy for you to be here today because I feel absolutely safe whenever you're around.
Sometimes too safe.
Sometimes
some of our previous trips.
Yes. Oh man. Not to kick it off on a bad note, but
They weren't bad.
David,
Those are unforgettable moments.
Unforgettable moment. I know a couple podcasts ago I talked about Vegas, but David has been really good when he's been around me, being able to control me via pressure points. Now, obviously, he didn't put me in excruciating pain, but it definitely stopped me in my tracks. So I'm very thankful for his grand knowledge of pressure points.
I just had to dial you back a little bit.
Just to dial it back, man. So I'm always at 11, so you got me to like a 9.
At 9, yeah.
I know some people who might be listening, their first question is, what is Kuk Sool Won? So I feel like if I was to ask anyone that question, you would be the one that would know the best answer.
I can certainly give you a little more background on it. So Kuk Sool Won is a Korean traditional martial art. And so it's not as well known as Taekwondo or karate, the names that are more publicized, in the movies, in media, things like that. And those terms have actually become almost generic terms. So people think of, or you talk about martial art, they either instantly think of, karate or Taekwondo, the big names that you hear. Kuk Sool Won, even though it's one of the largest martial art associations in the world, the name isn't as well known just because of it's not in the media too often. But quick overview of what it is. So if you take martial art originally as like a pie, right? It incorporated everything. True grandmasters, they studied the entire spectrum of the art. And then only really in more modern times have these styles come up where you have, karate, Taekwondo, and jiu-jitsu and judo, and all took portions of that martial art study, and they focused on what they were good at or what they had kind of a natural talent for or what they enjoyed, and they kind of created that style. And Kuk Sool Won is one of the very few arts that didn't kind of specialize. Instead, we focus on studying the entire art. So much more long term. It's a study of an art over preparing for like a particular event, like a sport would be. And it's just very, very comprehensive. There's no other single martial art that has the depth that Kuk Sool Won has.
Yeah, because if you're looking at the entire spectrum, you're going to have so many pieces and parts of it. If I recall, I would see a lot of the activities that your classes would be doing would not only include the obvious parts of martial art, but also using weapons.
Correct.
And in some cases, if I'm not wrong here, focusing on the moment and more of meditation and really getting into the situation.
Well, so, most people, they think of martial art and they think of, fighting, right? Yeah. Self-defense. And truly, like true martial art, you don't study to fight, right? That's not really art. That's sport. So if you're studying to fight, for example, like doing very popular these days is mixed martial art, right? Those guys are preparing for to fight, right? That's their goal. And so the way that they train is very, very different. So we study in art. We study for the betterment of ourselves, physically, mentally, and really the ability to defend yourself is actually a byproduct of studying the art. So with a sport, again, you generally have a particular goal that you have in mind. I want to get in the ring and I want to fight and I want to win. Right? So that's how you direct your training. Whereas in the art, we don't expect to fight. We don't really have that in our mind. However, with what we study, we have the ability to defend ourselves. And defending ourselves and fighting, very, very different things, very different objectives and different ways that you prepare for it.
Yeah, and what I meant, by the way, was exactly what you were talking about, the kind of the art and the development it seems that if you don't have that specific goal of fighting, it becomes a serene and peaceful practice.
Absolutely.
More than aggressive and
certainly, yes. And I mean, really, our goal in our training in our school is, we tell everyone the two things that I want you to be. I want you to feel when you come to the school. One, it's a very respectful environment. And then the respect starts from the top down. The highest ranks are going to show the best manners because we want you to follow that example. And the second is that it's a very positive environment. It's very positive because that's the environment that's conducive to learning. And again, since we're not expecting to have to fight, we're not constrained with, okay, guys, we have a fight in 3 weeks. This is what we got to do to prepare for it, right? Instead, we're studying for the life benefit, the physical benefit of the training, the activity, the exercise, the mental benefit of having to really focus in order to perfect certain motions and to develop the body and your strength and your flexibility. And then you get the camaraderie of the people around you all going towards that same goal. And oftentimes in the realm that's kind of preparing for fighting, it's very aggressive, right? By nature, it kind of has to be, right? And so, and for some people, that's what they want to do. And if that's your desire, there are some great schools for that. If your desire is more about becoming a better person and enjoying life and having a longer, more fulfilling life and the ability to defend yourself if the event ever arises, I think studying an art is probably the better way to go.
Yeah. You're talking about the fact that a lot of other martial arts, you have to prepare for a fight. You have a goal in mind. And it made me think of, obviously, I think it may have passed a lot of people's mind hearing this UFC, right?
Sure.
And you had said that Kuk Sool Won doesn't get a huge amount of media attention. And also taken from a discussion that I had talked to you about way back, you had actually, for a second, I think, been like, what if I get into, or at least entertain the thought, not entertained it, but entertain the thought of getting into UFC. And you're like, yeah, it's just not worth it on my body, etc. But where I want to get with all that is that something that you think will ever be, do you think Kuk Sool Won will ever break into UFC, or is because it's so focused on the art and the practice, it will not be incorporated into that at all? Or have we seen that? I mean, I guess I never really dug into it.
Well, we actually have had Kuk Sool Won practitioners in doing the, I don't know necessarily in the UFC itself, because there's many different fighting groups, right? UFC is one of the most well-known ones. But as far as in the, actually, no, I think it was a UFC fight. I don't know which one. I don't really follow UFC too much. Although I have a lot of respect for those guys. I mean, there's no doubt they are highly skilled in what they study and prepare for. And so, yeah, I mean, we have had that. I know some Kuk Sool practitioners that do kind of they are in that full contact realm. I did a lot of that when I was younger, and more of these open tournaments that were full contact tournaments and stuff like that. And they were good. They were good experience building. But yeah, and I don't really have a desire to get into it.
It's definitely not the time.
Well, I mean, for one, like, and I've been studying martial art for almost 30 years. I've done a lot of competition, and so the competition really isn't a motivator for me. I don't have anything to prove except to myself and to my teachers. So that's one thing. And the other is it's very hard on the body, right? I mean,
that's what you had mentioned.
I was doing the full contact stuff when I was younger, and you get hurt. I mean, you might win. That doesn't mean you're not getting hurt, right? So, what is it worth it? And then the other thing is, I run a martial arts school, and so I train very hard for myself, but I don't see like the benefit, the risk benefit analysis isn't there for me to do that. But I did entertain it for a little while, but it's not really. Again, I'm more interested in the art, not as much into the sport side of it. So, but I mean, there's always a number, right? Someone gave me a certain number, get in the ring, Obviously I'd have to win. Obviously I wouldn't expect anything if I lost.
Yeah.
But no, it would, there's a number I would get in the ring for it, but
What's that number?
now you're gonna put me on the spot.
What's that number range?
I mean, I wouldn't even think about it for under like 50,000.
Okay. So if there's a random UFC sponsor that's hearing this,
no, not really that interested. No. But I mean, like there's a number I would say, okay, that might be worth it.
Yeah.
It might be more than 50. I don't know.
So obviously you're saying you're doing that a lot when you're younger. Guys and girls that are coming into your classes, is that exciting for them? Is that something it takes them for a while to realize that it's not necessarily the priority, or is that something that drives a lot of your students? What's kind of the balance on why are teenage to early 20s individuals getting into your classes and being like, you know what, I can't wait to be taught by David Aue? What's their reasoning? What's their motivation behind it for most of them?
So in our school, well, I mean, we were talking about like contact fighting. Very few people come into our school looking for that. And we do have that on occasion. And I let them know in the beginning that this isn't a sport focused training. This is art, right? And so we will learn all of the material that you could possibly ever want to learn. It's all in the syllabus, but it's going to take time. And so if you're looking to get into a ring and get into a full contact fight in the next 6 months, the school might not be the place for you to be. And so I try to be very honest with people. And obviously before anybody starts, I want them to watch a class. They take an introductory lesson. And by and large, the people that come to our school, one is they've heard of our school. We've been in Clear Lake since 1991, and so we have a huge reputation in the community. From in the Kuk Sool Won realm, I mean, our school is known by pretty much everybody, and it's the way that we approach teaching. So it's the energy in the classroom. What we teach. Obviously, Kuk Sool Won as an art is an unbelievable art, and like anything else, you can have something really amazing, but if you can't communicate that well to somebody, they don't feel the same way. So I think it's our teaching approach that really inspires people to come in, be committed, and train with us for years, decades. I mean, we just had a high belt testing yesterday, actually. We had students testing for 4th degree and 5th degree, and no one in that group has been training with us for less than 15 years. So, wow. I mean, that's a lot of dedication, and that's what we like. We're not looking to have a student come in and join us for a 6-week introductory program. We'll give them an introductory lesson, let them see the class, and then we're looking to keep the student for years, because truly developing the art, it takes time. There's really no shortcut. You have to practice. You got to dedicate the time to do it. And then to have that from somebody, they have to be motivated. And that's our job. Our job is to keep them motivated through the natural up and downs of anything that you do in life, right? There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. When you're on the high point, well, everything's easy. You're super easy to motivate when you're on the high point. But when you're at that low point, that's when it really takes a good teacher to help that student get through it and get their way back up to that next high point. And when they can develop that in our school, I feel, especially as being younger, whether they're 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, it's going to help them in the rest of their life. And I have students constantly tell me how, us pushing them not to quit when they were having a downtime helped them as they got older. I've had kids that started when they were 5 and 6 years old and then gone off to college and then come back and say, Master David, I can't thank you enough for these lessons, because they give me an example of how something happened in their life that was tough, and they thought exactly back to one of the classes or one of the talks that we had or Master Harmon had with them, and then that's what got them through it. And that's one of the most rewarding parts of teaching and doing what we do, I think. So, but kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there.
No, that's okay.
Few people come in looking for that, I want to fight, and we do have them, and generally they've never been hit before. And Mike Tyson has a great quote, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And, UFC is very glamorous, right? You see it on there like, wow, I could do that. And then when you're sitting on the couch watching a fight, you say, oh, look at that opening. He missed it. I would have taken him out. Easy, guys.
Yeah.
Easy. And then, the first time they get hit and then your eyes, oh my God, well, this is terrible. Getting hit sucks. And so, like I said, I have a lot of respect for those guys who get out there. It is not easy. And when someone makes something look easy, it's because they have thousands of hours training it and working it, and the blood and the sweat and the soreness and the pain and the injuries that you go through are substantial. So.
Well, it's all, at some point, it becomes all muscle memory, right? Or
certainly.
significant.
Well, yeah, I mean, in martial art, it all boils down to muscle memory. If you have to think about what you're going to do, it's too late. You've either missed the opportunity or you've already been taken out. That's all there is to it. And so that muscle memory, it comes with repetition, right? You have to, the saying, do it till you get it right, right? You've heard that before? It doesn't work at all in martial art. Anybody can get it right once. Do it enough so you can't get it wrong. That's really the goal. And so now you're talking like, do it till you get it right. Oh, let's say it take you 10 times, 1 out of 10, you got it. Okay, do it till you can't get it wrong. It takes thousands until it's just ingrained.
What do they say? It takes 10,000 hours to master?
To master something, yeah.
So you're talking about, you have students that you've seen them go through multiple different stages of their life at this point. How many, someone's 15 years in, how many hours is that? That's not even, that's still half of it, less than half of it, I think.
I mean, a student generally will train 2 to 3 hours a week in the school, right? A good student will spend at least that amount of time training on their own. And then, but still, yeah.
So we're looking at 2,300 hours, 15 years?
Yeah, something like that. And that's not really all that much.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, like Kuk Sool Won or any true art was not designed to be practiced recreationally. All right. And so that's one of the modernizations that a lot of these styles, I think, have also kind of driven styles to specialize, because it's much easier with people's limited time to focus on a small piece. And so you can really develop some skill if that's what you're focusing on. But if you look at 2 to 3 hours a week, 15 years, although it's a lot, it's not all that much. And you look at someone who, like for me, this is my profession and it's also my passion. So I've been, whether I'm teaching or training, and even when I'm teaching, although it's not training at my level, I'm still developing my fundamentals. And I'm a firm believer that the difference between a good practitioner and a great practitioner, world class, is a mastery in the fundamentals. And so just practicing, I don't think you can practice the basics enough because the motivation just isn't there, right? What black belt wants to spend hours working on one kick or their white belt form or their white belt level techniques? They're going to want to work on their newest stuff they're working on. It's natural. But as a teacher, I'm teaching constantly the white belt level kicks, the white belt level forms, and all the way through the syllabus. And so that really gives me a big advantage on the fundamentals. So, look at a student, a couple hours a week, 15 years, whatever it is. Look at someone like me or my teacher, where this is what we've done. I mean, I've been teaching since I was 15 years old. So, you say, let's say 6 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week for 25 years. Now you look at that, and it's a huge delta in experience. So, that's why, just someone that does it as recreation and still gets to master level, and then someone does it as a profession, there's usually a big skill gap, even if the rank is the same.
Yeah.
Right? It boils down to experience and the ability to put time into it.
Yeah, you probably have at this point over 10,000 hours.
Yeah, certainly.
For sure. So you're saying it's a matter.
And I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
I feel like I have achieved the rank of master, but I still feel like if I learn nothing else, and there's still more for me to learn. Like my teacher still has a lot more to teach me, but I feel like I could spend the rest of my life with what I know and still not feel like I would ever get to a level where I thought, yeah, I've mastered this.
Well, that's what makes this so great, right? Is it's a continuing learning.
There is no end.
There is no end.
There is no end.
And you're saying you got black belts that you want to have continually practicing over and over things they've learned in lower belts, right?
Correct.
And you said that you have to make sure that the way you teach, you communicate and keep motivated. So you have that situation where, you have someone who's super excited. What's the type of style of teaching that you execute that makes them still realize they need to do that, get excited about doing that, and kind of keep them not in line, but focused on what's necessary to have that continued learning?
Well, a big part of it is the art itself. The art is very, very diverse. So, one thing that obviously creates burnout for people is, it's just the same thing over and over again, where you have to have that, right? You have to have the same thing over and over and over and over again, because that's how you develop mastery in that. But it's very tedious. It becomes very boring and monotonous. So I think one of the things that we've been able to do at our school is find ways of having repetition, but not having it just pure repetition, right? So finding different ways to have repetition without it being boring, right? Mm-hmm. Now also, for example, like I had a student actually not too long ago, I think it was last week, recently moved up to the advanced class. And he came up to me, and he's a young guy. He's like 16 years old. Works hard. He goes, Master David, I don't really feel like I'm progressing. And I said, why is that? He says, man, I remember beginner class, man, I'd be so tired at the end of class. And now in this advanced class, I'm so tired at the end of class. I don't feel like I've progressed. And I said, hold on. Let's back it up for a second here. Think about what you were doing in the beginner class. Think about the level of intensity that you were doing. Now think of the level of intensity that you were doing in the advanced class, right? Are they anywhere in the same ballpark? It's like, well, no. And I said, so here's the thing. I said, it doesn't get easier. You get better, and I challenge you more. That's how it should go. If at the end of a class, if you're not tired, if you're not worn out, well, you've probably been a little bit lazy in your training today, right? So this is the way that the art progresses, right? You get better, the art gets more challenging. So it doesn't get easy. If it gets easy, something's wrong.
Yeah. So Kuk Sool Won is almost a complete definition of personal growth, because you keep giving yourself more and more challenge to better grow yourself, better, in general, better yourself. Use better 3 times there, but it's
better.
It's better. Oh yeah, definitely better. I feel like there's a direct correlation between, just becoming a better person 5 times and Kuk Sool Won, where it's just like, okay, cool, I've gotten to this level. What's the next level so that I can get to the next level and then the next level, but never forgetting where you started.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, goal orientation, right? Yeah. Short-term, long-term goals. And then the great thing, for me at least, my experience is my goals have changed substantially in my martial art training. And although I am a teacher, I run a school, I'm always a student. And I learn from my students. So when I'm teaching someone something, if they're not getting it, I've got to find a different approach. And I've had the ability to, been very fortunate that when I have something challenging to teach someone and they're just not getting it, I have to look at it a different way. I oftentimes discover new things about what it is that I'm teaching, something I didn't realize before. And so, when I teach someone something, they get a big benefit, right? But I get a bigger benefit, right? So that's one of the amazing things that about teaching martial art is through teaching I get better.
Yeah.
So, but yes, setting the goals, short term, long term, having it come full circle, having your goals change throughout time. That's a really big part of having someone stick with anything. These days, right? Attention spans are very short these days, right? So you get someone to stick with something for a month, that's not bad. A year, that's pretty good. 5 years, wow. Decades? I mean, that's...
Well, people want a lot of instant gratification.
Yeah, they want the shortcut.
So, yeah.
I want to be able to do what you do tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
and right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that sounds a lot like something else we really like. Instant gratification in cards.
Cards, poker.
Yeah, poker.
I mean, sure.
Because you want to, especially learning it or, putting in the hours. You sit down at a table. A lot of newbies are thinking, I want to triple up, hit and run in 2 hours or whatever, and they have the sense that they're just going to ride on the glory waves and like the good times, and I think the same situation for, this is just my observation, the Kuk Sool Won is kind of similar, where it's, you were saying that students are going to have highs and lows in their lives, but they have to keep with the discipline.
Correct.
Same thing there. Man, lots of stories there, but when what I want to know is because we didn't really talk about this aside from when the school started. How come you originally started?
There at Kuk Sool?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was 11 years old. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about anything, right? The school was down the street from my house. I could walk there. When kids actually walked places and had bicycles and things like that.
Yeah, had to watch out for dinosaurs, though.
Dinosaurs, that's true. That was a while ago. So that's the real reason I started there, was just proximity. I had no idea that the two school owners were some of the highest ranking practitioners in the world, world renowned, champion winners. I mean, and then, I got very, very lucky. I mean, I've been very lucky in life, in a number of respects, including stepping in the door there and, starting to take classes. Now, in all honesty, I mean, like, you're a kid, right? Mm-hmm. Batman, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to be a crime fighter.
Yeah.
Ninja crime fighter. And hey, why not? Let's do it. And so that was one of my motivations to want to start. And I just fell in love with it. And I mean, after I never left. Like now my mother-in-law, she told me many times, why are you still here? Your class ended 3 hours ago. You don't have a home? Go home.
Oh,
so,
man.
Some great stories about that. I was just, I'd get out of school. I'd walk to the dojang, the martial arts school. Mm-hmm. Sometimes no one was there yet. I'd just wait. They need help cleaning up. I'd help clean up, and I'd sit and do my homework on the bench. And eventually, I was there so often, one of the advanced classes, there was an odd number of people. They needed an extra partner. Mm-hmm. They called me on the floor to be a partner. And that was like the best day of my life, right? I was asked to help, Yeah. And that's kind of what's, spurred it. And I had great teachers. I had great mentors. And just the environment was amazing. And so, I just never wanted to leave. Still haven't.
So just happened to be around the corner. Then you fell in love with it, and you found it as kind of your purpose.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what's up. And you wanted to start as a ninja crime fighter.
Well, what 10-year-old doesn't want to do that, right? Who doesn't want to be Batman?
Exactly. Little did you know that 29 years later, your first fighting of crime, technically, right?
Well, no, I've been in way more than that, but
were they crime based though?
Yeah.
Really?
Try to steal my motorcycle.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, try to steal my wallet.
Oh my God. Why does everyone try? They're picking
the
worst possible target.
Well, they obviously don't know me, but I don't.
You're not like
I'm
small
not a small
dude.
guy. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I smile too much. I said I'm too friendly looking.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, I don't have facial hair. You're kind of intimidating looking.
I don't know about that. You slightly look like a turtle, and you look like a nice killing machine. Just like absolute destruction with a smile. But some crazy stories. You told me that story. What was it? 4 months ago, before COVID? When did it happen? Or was it a little while?
No, it was during COVID.
Oh, it was during COVID.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that when I was holding this guy waiting for the police. I was like, I hope he doesn't have COVID.
Yeah. So you stopped a drug dealer, pretty much, right?
Pretty much, yeah. At the time, I didn't know that. I thought he was breaking into my truck.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's at night. It's 10:30 or so. I'm taking the dogs out back. Just letting them do their business before we call it a night, and sitting on the back porch just in a shorts and a t-shirt, on my phone, Facebook or whatever. And we have 3 dogs. We had 3 dogs that night. We sometimes have more. But around the corner of my backyard, where I keep my truck and trailer for racing and things, and anyway, my German Shepherd, who's scared of everything, she's barking and like walking backwards, like she's running away, but barking.
Yeah.
Like, Delilah, just leave it alone.
That's a funny image.
I know. 75-pound German Shepherd, right? Running away, barking. And then my little Chiweenie, 10 pounds of fury, he comes ripping across the yard, running at it, right? Running at it. I can't see what's going on. It's around the corner of the house. Dark over there. And he barks like I've never heard him bark before. So I thought, man, they got like a possum pinned under the truck or something like that. So anyway, I get up and I'm walking over there, and as I'm turning the corner, there's a guy in my backyard, which is fenced, standing on the side of my truck. And so I just yell, I say, "Hey!" And he turns and looks at me, and he hops over the fence and starts taking off. So first, I had a few moments to get a look at him, right? It was dark. I couldn't see, like, physically. I knew he wasn't really large, but more importantly, again, done a lot of training, and I was watching to see if he was reaching for anything, right? If he was reaching for a weapon or anything like that. And the distance wasn't very far. It was less than 15, 20 feet. So being that he wasn't reaching for a weapon, even if he had one, I felt I could close the distance in well enough time that if he had a weapon, he couldn't get it out and then be able to use it. So he hopped the fence. I hurled the fence over, and again, I'm watching very, very closely. If he's reaching for anything, has he stopped? But he was running. So at full speed, at his full speed.
Which wasn't enough.
Not enough. I don't like running. You make me run, I'm very upset. I can run, I just don't like it.
I remember that time you tried to get the treadmill done and over with, and ended up being sore the whole day.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my calves were burnt.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm running this mile in like 5 minutes. Just ramp it up as high as it'll go. So anyway, so I chase him down, I grab him, and I throw him down. And as I pick him up, he starts to fight, right? And so as soon as he started to give me some resistance, I stepped in front of him and I threw him down hard. And everything he had with him just went flying. And I thought it was all my stuff. I thought he'd broken into my truck. And I had a kind of a bag in there and stuff like it looked just like that. And it was dark. I couldn't really see much. So anyway, throw him down hard. And I put him in some joint locks and I pick him up and I'm dragging him back towards the house. And so, he's like, just let me go, let me go. I was like, man, you broke into my truck. I ain't letting you go. And he goes, no, I wasn't trying to break into your truck. I was like, you were in my backyard, And I was like, you're going to jail. And he goes, no, man, I can't go. I said, you're going to jail. Do you want to make a stop at the hospital first? This is what's going to happen. Like, this is what's going on. Like, there's no two ways about it. So at that point, he wasn't fighting me. He was just fighting to get away. And so I didn't need to use a lot of force. I didn't have to hit him or anything like that. He never put me in a threatening situation. So it was easy just to detain him, control him, bring him back. And so I had lost my phone in this thing, so I couldn't call the police. So I dragged him to the front door of my house.
It was an Android, so it was fine.
That's right. You're Android. No,
I had my phone. But anyways, keep going.
Okay. So anyway, I get to the front door of my house, and I'm like, I can't like let this guy go for a second. So I just slam him into the wall, and I pin him up by his throat, and I hit the doorbell. And I'm waiting there. And my wife comes to the door. Yeah. She knows nothing of what's going on, right?
So no surprise.
Idea. Yeah. So she opens the door, and then her face was just classic, right? She sees me like got this guy pinned up against the wall of the house, a side brick, and she's like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" And I just looked at her. I said, "Hey, babe, do me a favor. Go grab your phone. Give the police a call." And she was like, "Oh," she closed the door, and got her phone, and then the guy started trying to fight with me again. So I threw him down again, and I just pinned him down, and so she comes back to the door. She's on the phone with the police, and they're asking for like description and all that kind of stuff. And she's like squatting down next to him. I'm on top of this guy, pinning him down. He's wearing a red shirt. He's got shorts and blonde, shaggy hair. He's got a tattoo. She did a great job of giving description. And I was like, babe, just tell him home invasion. There's a fight in progress. That's all you need to tell them. But I understand. The police need to know, like, they don't know, am I the invader? Right?
Yeah, that could be bad for you.
For sure. I mean, those are, I mean, it's all very important to do the right thing with the police because they have no idea, right? They're coming into this cold. So anyway, to my shock, cruiser rolls up less than a minute. I'm like, wow, holy cow. I can't believe they got here so fast.
That is crazy.
Which is great.
Where's the, Webster Police Department. It's on Highway 3, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the officer comes trotting up the yard, and I just tell him, I said, take your time. He's not going anywhere, and he was already out, like he was sweating out of breath. I'm like, the officer. And he's like, man, this guy just ran from me. And I was like,
I remember.
Oh, okay. And so what ended up happening was they were trying to arrest this guy in a drug bust. He ran from them and got away. And I guess in our community, my house happened to be the first with like a fence that had like a darker area. He just jumped back there to hide and just got really unlucky. So
was he in that motel?
Yeah, the motel at the end of the block, which isn't very, very nice. So
not the best.
No, not the best. Not the best. But yeah, it was a really crazy kind of situation,
That is crazy. What's crazier is your situational awareness and keeping calm through the whole thing. Because you were saying, like, I was looking to see if he was reaching for a weapon. I was deciding whether or not he was fighting me or fighting, like, all these things going on. And then also, talking to Emerald and just being like completely like, hey, could you get the cops on the phone? We kind of got to figure this out.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things about studying in art as well is, calm breeds calm, right? Mm-hmm. Panic breeds panic. So my teachers always taught me, when you train, leave emotion out, right? And so it's been very helpful in life, in everything that I've done, including poker, right? When you can leave emotion out, when you leave emotion out, right, you can make more clear decisions. And so, one of the things that we teach at the school is we intentionally put students in awkward situations, right? We want them to get those emotional challenges in a controlled environment. For example, students have to test in order to promote. During the test, there's a panel of judges. They're being critiqued. It inherently puts stress on the student, and we want that, right? Because when you're under stress, more of what you truly know comes out, right? And so, like, if you ever have to fight, if you have to defend your family, your stress level is going to be pegged off the chart.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've never had that experience, if you don't know what that feels like, your risk of freezing up and doing nothing is far greater. So, throughout their training, whether it's testing, promotions, demonstrations, board breaking, tournaments, whatever it is, it's designed to put them under a manageable amount of stress. So we also kind of, I think it's referred to as like the learning zone. If everything is easy, you're not really learning, right? Learning really happens when you have some struggle. So that's when you truly learn. And so I think with my training and experiences, it's much easier to maintain that. That's just kind of my default. So my wife teases me all the time that I'm a cyborg. Because I never see you super happy and you never see me get really angry. And I said, is that a problem? Like, are you upset that I don't get really angry?
Yeah.
But, at the same time, like, it just, everything kind of falls within that range. And then I approach things with logic. And it's not that I try to eliminate emotion, but I do try to manage it. I feel that's really helped me a lot.
I think the only times I've seen you upset are bad beats. And not even that upset. You're just irritated. Yeah. Slightly irritated.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like, those happen. And, you refer back to the logic. Like, okay, yeah, it's not like it's unexpected. It sucks when it happens, like standard deviations, like really out of whack. But I mean, that's part of the deal. But I mean, I don't know. I try to stay calm and even and level. And
I mean, you're definitely in the friend group the most level-headed by far. Just
Hold on.
by
Hold on.
far.
You need me to tell me you have some extremes?
Sometimes I've gotten much better,
You have.
but actually, I'd have to say, thinking back in all the past, you've really always been just present in a lot of moments, just present and calm. You were saying that you think a lot of people try you because you're always smiling so much, but you have like this welcoming presence, almost a gentle giant.
Yeah.
Is that the term? Have you ever been called a gentle giant?
I've been called lots of things. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been called Gentle Giant. Well, I have now.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So
This,
it's one in a row.
At 3:37.
Mark it on the calendar.
Mark it on the calendar. Gentle giant.
I have a number of nicknames, but not
That's
usually that one.
That's not it. Start your own frozen vegetable company now.
Gentle Giant. Oh my gosh.
So ridiculous. No, man. That's a super cool story. And I think you told me a number of them. It's just so wild to me. I still can't get over the fact that people try you so often.
I think I'm pretty surprised as well. Like I've had my fair share of incidences, but now
I wonder if the universe is testing you to further your own progression to continue to be very common in rough situations.
Yeah, maybe. I
There's
mean,
the other side. There's
in
gotta
all
be
honesty,
something.
like it's not like this happens like on a weekly basis, right? And for example, like that guy, he wasn't.
Sorry, I just had a ridiculous image of you just like going through life and like ninjas popping out of the like nowhere. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
So I mean, for example, like the guy that was in my backyard, obviously he wasn't trying me, right? It's just unlucky situation for him.
Yeah.
Really, it was only like 2 times in my adult life, right? I had a guy try to take my wallet from me at a restaurant,
Then your
taqueria.
bike.
Well, that one, yeah, but like he didn't target me, right?
What about high school too?
Well, high school is different. Yeah, I mean that did happen. Like people knew that I trained and had black belt, and they were like, I can, what's he got, right?
Kids.
But yeah, kids, and I don't really consider those were not. Those were like high school fights and nothing, right? There's nothing to it, right? Someone hits me, hit him back, whatever it was, right? More of a nuisance than anything else. But I mean, I've only really been what I would say like in a fight like where I was scared like once, and that was when I was pretty young. That happened in Galveston. Someone tried to take my motorcycle and my ex-girlfriend at the time. So yeah, that was really the only time I've really had to hit somebody out of like necessity.
Well, there's some random other times though. That guy knocking on the hotel door couldn't find his hotel. Remember in Vegas? I mean, it's not that they were looking to fight, but remember some drunk guy randomly showed up, thought it was his room.
Oh yeah, just had to escort him away. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other random I'm pretty sure I was here at the 24-hour fitness. The guys on the basketball, just random situations.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that was I was hot. That was one of the few times I was kind of upset.
Yeah,
and I mean so like with martial art, you always look to diffuse, right? You never want it to come to that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that situation, that was not cool when they knocked down Aaron. That was bad.
Oh my god,
yeah.
That was random. I think I was definitely not going to help if I would try my best, but it was going to be basically 3 versus everyone and me as your cheerleader.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I was like, Roger, get the video going. Let's get something on film this time.
Exactly. Back then we probably could have blew up and viral. So I really want to talk about your final table. I know this is like
that was 10 years ago.
That was so long ago.
It was 2010.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
But that's so because I was just, I was just talking to Cole from this office about my 2016 main event run, and dude, I miss that. I miss that whole atmosphere.
Yeah,
I can't believe I wasn't there for that final table.
Yeah.
That was so wild.
And Matt was playing in a tournament as well.
Yeah,
it's funny. I had Mark and Connie on the rail, and my uncle Gary who lives in Vegas.
Oh, that's right, Gary.
Yeah.
Mark and Connie, my Las Vegas dad and mom. Mm-hmm. So you got to be at a final table. So and did they film that? Did they film it?
Yeah.
Got you. So for those that don't know much about poker, there's the World Series of Poker, which obviously this year because of COVID, and we'll talk about COVID too, did not go off for the 2020 year. Maybe 2021. I don't know.
Hopefully
That'd be cool. We should definitely go. But essentially, it is a series of tournaments. Winners take home a bracelet. They're put in the history books as a World Series of Poker tournament winner. And there's the one big main event. David had played in the 1500. What was the number? Do you remember the number?
Which event it was?
Event number?
I don't remember. Maybe like 54 or something.
Event
like
number
that.
54.
Maybe
whatever.
not. I'd have to look.
So tournaments involve a lot of luck, but
was a luck box.
But also a lot of skill at the same time. So you have to have a good match of both.
More luck for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have to get lucky by not getting unlucky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to win your 80-20s and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. But I bet you kept your cool. Utilized your Kuk Sool Won training.
It did help,
and I know we haven't talked about this for a while. So, what were some highlights of that tournament? I remember the final table was pretty crazy with I think one of those guys that was like your super fan.
Yeah, the final table was pretty intense. There was a guy there from Brazil who had a huge cheering crowd, like 40 people on the rail. And then when they weren't cheering for him, somehow they liked me, and so they were cheering for me, right? Yeah. And so. Unless we were in a hand together, and then they weren't cheering for me so much. But I mean, the event was pretty cool. I mean, I was very lucky to make that final table. It takes a lot of luck to get to a final table, period, in one of these big events. I think it was 2,500 entries or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, and out of the three of us, I was certainly the least skilled poker player, and 100% true. So, but. You guys definitely helped me at least have some better input on what to do in certain situations. But so the event was all pretty cool. It was very, very surreal. Once you kind of, burst the bubble and you're in the money, right? That's a big deal. And then climbing the ladder. That
happened day one or day two?
No. I think it was late in day 2. And so I guess it was a 3-day event. Yeah, it was 3-day for sure. So the really incredible part was just as people are getting knocked out and you're kind of climbing the pay ladder, and then you're just making, I'm not even playing hands for, you have a series of card debt or whatever, and you're just making more money just by sitting there. And as people and we get down to like 3 tables, Phil Hellmuth came to my table. So I got to play with him for a little bit, the poker
How
brat.
was it playing with Phil Hellmuth?
It was fine. I mean, he's a character. I mean, he certainly acted as he portrays himself
grumpy
in the media. For the most part, he would definitely berate players and talk about how awful they would play when they beat him in a pot, and or they would fold, and he would show his hand like he had a good hand. He was like, "How could you possibly fold here? I had you the whole way." Whatever the case was. Definitely a character though. But honestly, he wasn't always he was pretty amicable, right, for the most part. So. Yeah, and then just kind of whittling it down and then making the final table. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, how am I still in this thing? And it was pretty surreal. And then the final table, of course, was, moving to the media table. Obviously a whole different table, super nice. All the cameras, the announcer, stuff like that, the rail. It was pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. And I mean, I got knocked out 5th. In kind of a cooler, I lost an 80-20. And so never been so upset to win so much money in all my life.
I know. Well, they say you're not happy unless it's first, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, getting busted out second, even still, you're going to be disappointed unless you win the thing. But that was only in the moment. And then after it's all done, talking with Matt and stuff like that, and kind of reflecting back, holy cow, I was just at a World Series final table, And then you go to the cashier, right? And they ask you, and you have a 6-figure score, and how do you want this?
You're like bearer bonds. I'd like it in bearer bonds, please.
Like 10s and 20s? I mean, I don't know.
10s and 20s. We're having a crazy night tonight.
So yeah, I mean, it was just incredible. But really, what I really enjoyed about playing poker was the camaraderie, right? When you and me and Matt were playing together regularly, that was just so much fun.
Yeah, man.
So much fun.
Not to be too nostalgic about that, but I would have to say when we were out there 2012, and just even though I sometimes wish I could take that time and take the person I am now and be out there then, I would have enjoyed it so much more. Because I remember I was so focused on the result that I didn't get to enjoy so much. Like there's just something about being in those rooms, being in the Rio, just, I don't know. There's something about that atmosphere that's just divine. Says the degenerate, right?
The degen, yeah.
But
no, it's true. I understand exactly what you're talking about.
It's just in having those dinners and talking about the hands.
I mean, we took it like a business. We were entrepreneurs with it. I mean, we were very, very systematic, very structured, very, we did a lot of study.
I don't know if I was structured.
Okay, so Matt and I did a lot of study. And we just kind of relayed what we learned.
Yeah. No, that was, man,
and you're just like, barrel it off. 3-bet jam and it all in. Let's go.
Dude, yeah. You had a set. Why'd you fold?
Oh my gosh. That's a good story. Why are we still talking about things that don't matter?
Oh my God. I was so...
As we carrying you to the car.
How was I even alive? I don't know. That was great. Yeah, we gotta get back out there. But COVID obviously, man, I feel like I talk about this all the time.
It's a topic, man. That's what's going on. It's crazy.
Affecting everyone. But I was gonna say hopefully get a vaccine going, get things going in 2021. WOSOP. We can get out there. But I know we talked about everything with Kuk Sool Won from a macro look and not so much what's going on right now. Being a contact sport, obviously, though you don't want that much contact, but having people in close proximity. I know you mentioned doing Zoom training. How have you guys pivoted through all this?
So it's certainly been very difficult. Obviously, what we do it's a lot of people, and we do techniques and joint locks and throws. It involves contact, and so we were when this first started to hit, we were just kind of unsure. We kind of made some changes. For example, no shaking hands. We stopped doing techniques for a while, and then we had to shut down for a while. Right? I mean, it was kind of mandatory, and so when that happened, we did pivot into trying to keep students engaged via Zoom, also via Facebook. We were running, I normally run about 35 classes a week, and we went to doing essentially like over 100 between Facebook and Zoom. Instructors had the school all sectioned off. It was like a media center. It was pretty wild. And so we were completely digital only, I guess, for about 2 months. Very challenging, of course, but we have some great students. We have a lot of great students that stood by us and found a way to continue their training, even though it was challenging, right? And so
that's cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And that's again, that's what we're not interested in having people that are going to pop in and pop out, right? That's not what we do. And so in the scheme of things, a couple months is not that big a deal. So there's other things that we can focus on. There's plenty to work on. And then like in the middle of May, we started to do like hybrid classes, right? We opened the school. We still ran classes on Zoom because there's a lot of families that, weren't ready to get back into face-to-face, obviously, completely understandable. Yeah. And then so we've been back to live classes since middle of May, and keeping class sizes restricted, trying to keep social distancing in place. If we are doing techniques, which we've only started doing recently, everyone has to wear a mask, hand sanitize, don't change partners, no shared equipment. Everything gets cleaned every class. Pretty much what everybody else is doing to try to minimize the spread. So try to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Right. So it seems like because you had such a very large membership already, you just found a way to service them during the time, and then since you were looking for long term anyways, you weren't. It seems to me you weren't too worried about right now.
Well, I mean, from like from a business standpoint, it's been very challenging.
Of course.
So yeah, we're down. We've lost quite a number of students now. A lot of students, I feel, well, for one, a lot of people have been affected personally as well, right? Their jobs, their incomes, and things like that.
Right.
So, we have students like that. I mean, my question to them is, how can we help you, right? So we're going to do what's right by people. That's why we've been teaching at Clear Lake for almost 30 years, is because we do what's right. And so we're in it for the long term with our students in every respect. And so, and some students were like, we just want to wait till this all settles down. Completely fine, right? You have your books, you have the videos that are available to you, continue your training. We're going to be here when you're ready to get back. And then we've had some students that are like, we're in, whatever it takes, we're in. And so we've been very fortunate in that respect, but it has been tough, like everybody else, but
get through it.
We got to do what we teach our students, right? One, stay positive. What good is negativity going to get you? Is it going to change anything? It will. It'll change how you perceive things. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, right? You can always take accountability for your attitude, right? So we stay positive. I've always been one about contingency, plan, right? I don't expect things to be this way forever. So what if things change? How are we prepared for that? And fortunately, obviously no one could predict this, right? This is way beyond, but we're going to survive it. We're going to get through it, and we're going to come back stronger.
I believe it, man. Well, I have one last question for you. Have you ever told anyone to sweep the leg?
So there's a hilarious meme about that. And obviously, Karate Kid movie, it's a staple, right? So it's like rounders in poker. Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows all the jokes and things like that. And so the great meme was, risk of transferring COVID, right? Handshaking, like 95%, whatever it was. Yeah. Fist bump, like 8%.
Yeah.
Sweep the leg, 0%. And this is what I've been training for my whole life. So just hilarious. The hilarity factor is great.
Yeah.
On that whole thing.
Good stuff, man. I'm sure you get all the memes all the time. But I hope that those who are listening have gotten a much better understanding of Kuk Sool Won. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for continuing to be a badass. If you guys want to become an eventual Kuk Sool master, which will take over 20 years, but if you want to start the process, Kuk Sool Won off of Highway 3 in Clear Lake. David will actually be your teacher, or at least be part of the teaching process.
I'll be your teacher, yeah.
And if you guys want to continue to listen to Texas Tea, subscribe, put a comment below. If you're watching YouTube, follow, share, all those great things. Thanks for coming on, David.
Thanks, Roger. I appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man. We definitely had some topics. Yeah. So, but we'll see you guys later, and I'll see you later.
All right, man.
All right.
Sounds good.